Many of you will not know who this is. I'm going to be honest. I didn't know who this was up until I opened up the article, but I thought it would be very interesting to talk about. So this man's name in this picture name is Perry Santillo, but he goes by the name of King Perry. And I was wondering, like, why do they call him that? But the reason why is because this guy was the head of a huge Ponzi scheme that literally racked him up hundreds of millions of dollars. Let me get into it. It says the fraudster called himself King Perry, and for a while he lived like royalty. Perry Santillo masterminded a long-running investment scam that collected more than $115 million from 1,000 investors around the country, using some of the proceeds to fund a lavish lifestyle of cars, casino junkets, and houses in multiple states. At one point, Santillo threw himself a party at a Las Vegas club and had a song written for the occasion, the lyrics of which boasted that King Perry wear a $10,000 suit everywhere he rides, the Securities and Exchange Commission said in a complaint. The Ponzi scheme eventually collapsed, and Santillo of Rochester, New York, is likely to trade his fancy duds for prison attire when he is sentenced on criminal conspiracy and fraud charges. He might end up being cellmates with Bernie Madoff. Santillo appeared Monday in federal court in Scranton, Pennsylvania, to plead guilty to a federal fraud charge, having already entered a guilty plea last month to similar charges in Rochester. Each charge carries a maximum 20-year prison sentence. Prosecutors say Santillo's victims include elderly people who lost their life savings. It is absolutely brazen theft occasioned by nothing other than greed. Santillo, aged 39, and his lawyer declined to comment Monday. Between 2008 and 2018, according to court documents, Santillo and his alleged conspirators coaxed clients to cash in their retirement accounts and invest in sham companies under their control, using the money from the newer investors to repay earlier investors. To ensure a fresh supply of victims, Santillo and his confederates brought the businesses and client list of a series of investment advisors and brokerages, prosecutors said. Over the years, they acquired investment firms in Tennessee, Ohio, Minnesota, Nevada, California, Florida, South Carolina, Texas, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Indiana. It is particularly insidious to me that because of the method that was employed, there was a level of criminal sophistication to find victims in the way that they did. Retirees Joe and Gail Malechki of Salisbury, Pennsylvania, said Santillo and his sales staff persuaded them to shift their entire nest egg of $314,000 from annuities to what they later learned were phony companies. They said Santillo, whom they met in 2016 after he bought their financial advisor's business and client list, had appeared competent and confident. We felt like we would be in good hands, said Gail, age 74. The couple began to suspect something was wrong when the promised dividend checks failed to materialize. When the FBI showed up in September 2018 to interview them about Santillo, an agent told them their money was likely gone. Joe, age 75, a former union electrician who had a second career as a public school music teacher, said he suffered weeks of physical and mental anguish. It was very heartbreaking because not only was it the money for our future elderly care, but I wanted to leave something to our children. It is heartbreaking that somebody you trusted could do that to you. All your life's work gone down the drain for somebody else's enjoyment. Added Gale, a former school board president, they need to pay dearly for what they did. Santillo stole at least $13.4 million, according to federal regulators, while co-defendants in the SEC civil action allegedly stole millions more. The Ponzi scheme returned nearly $45 million to investors, but nearly $71 million more is still owed. The SEC complaint names 4 co-defendants, all of whom had previously been suspended or banned by the securities industry's regulatory body. Santillo is the only person in the case to face criminal charges. Albert R. Murray Jr., an attorney who represents the Malecheskis, said it'll be up to federal investigators to discover where he got the money so he can begin to make restitution. It's his best interest because it's going to ultimately impact his sentence. While he may not be on the level of a Bernie Madoff, and at this point I don't think anybody can reach those heights, he definitely was on his way there. And see, that's the thing when it comes to people who do stuff like this. They target the elderly because they figure that these people have worked all their lives. They've got all this money stored up, saved somewhere. And they probably cashed in on that 401k they get in retirement. And that's how they do it. And they go after the elderly because they feel that they're the most impressionable. And most times they are. He probably knew that he could not get away with this with a younger crowd or anyone around his age or people who are still working. He knew he could not pull that off. But at the same time, that's why when it comes to stuff like this, you have to do your thorough research on anything like that. When they start asking you for money and then you ask where is it going and they give you a company, that's the minute you pull out your phone or you go to your laptop or computer and you look up to see if that company is real. Because if there's no website that comes up for or something that is legit, then it's not real. Now, a lot of these people who are scam artists and whatever have become smart because what they'll do is they'll get a website made up to make it look like it's something, and they'll have it look professional, and that's another way that they'll trick somebody out of their money. But then you have to go even further and do more research and see, do they have a grade on the Better Business Bureau? Do they have a contact number that you can call? And everything or like that? Or do they have an automated message thing? Because that's what a lot of companies do now. Like, you really have to do your research to make sure this stuff is legit. And like I said, because he had all that money, he started spending it. That was people's hard-earned money or people that had money that had saved up thinking it was going to go and help them more financially. It's probably gone, like they said. And that means they're going to have to work hard to get that money back. Like, that's why people was mad at Bernie Madoff. Because he literally was tricking off of everybody's money for years. He racked up. And those people were pissed because they trusted him with their money and they're not going to get it back. And it's amazing. Like I said, watch that movie Wizard of Lies. Very good movie with Robert De Niro. They ran that business and on a particular floor, a floor that people were not able to or privy to go to, while they had another floor to make it seem like they were running the true operation when the true operation was ran on that hidden floor, quote unquote. And in that hidden floor, it looked like a damn madhouse up in there. So you gotta like really, really, really pay attention and do your research before investing your money into anything. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.